welcome back everyone. It is fight night at our watch party, and it is going to be a doozy. Tonight we are talking about the LaRusso Manse brawl. Ah yes, the epic house fight at the end of the season. It manages to rival the school fight in scale and is such a massive Royal Rumble, Chris and Mitch would be the first to watch. The fight starts simple enough, as both dojos are trying to come up with a list of agreed upon rules for the combined training. A cat purrs out. Well, it's not really a cat, but Bert thinks it is, and goes to check. It's important to note, had Bert stayed inside and not let them in, this whole fight may have been avoided. So I think we can say it's all Bert's fault. Anyway, Bert goes to check and flies through the window. That's gotta hurt. It all happens pretty fast and the fight starts from there. Now, one thing I want to say up front is I think the music in the fight is phenomenal. I don't normally talk about the score, but there's a lot of great moments here, and I really recommend checking out the soundtrack. Also, broadly speaking, everyone's fighting technique has improved massively. All the moves look sharper and better. That really applies across the whole season, but definitely this fight. I'll probably always love Hawk the most, but seriously, all the main characters looked great and had solid fighting technique. So the fight starts as a free-for-all rumble, and then after a brief intercut with the adults in Alley at the Christmas party, we're back and the brawl is in full swing. Everyone fighting everywhere. It's insane. Though with how suddenly this massive fight started, right about now you are wondering, wait a second, hold on, why are they all fighting again? Okay, let's see here. Tori said this ends tonight. I guess she's talking about them combining their dojos, though it's unclear why she thinks attacking them in the LaRusso Manse will succeed in that. Like, I'll beat you up so you stop working together? But she must have been sent over the edge when Kreese said Miguel and that LaRusso girl were teaming up. It's what set her off. Now, does that mean she still loves Miguel, or is at least possessive of him? That's how it looks, but then she's fine with Kyler attacking him too. So really, it's not like she's trying to keep Sam away from Miguel. Besides, she already told Robbie that Sam would betray him just like Miguel. Clearly, she knows Miguel is done with her and she's expecting Miguel and Sam to get back together. That's why she told Robbie that. But even if they were teaming up, why would she want to start another big fight? Tori's entire story arc was building to some grand revelation. She admitted what happened to Miguel was her fault. She said she felt guilty about it. She even said she hated herself more than anything. It was building to something. But then instead of a payoff, she throws all the character development away and launches a fucking home invasion. That's even more insane since prior to this, she was very conscious about what would break her probation, even as early as that afternoon. Tori's entire Season 3 story arc got thrown aside so she could start a big huge fight for the finale. Also, even if Kreese got under Tori's skin with Miguel and Sam teaming up, why the hell did everyone else come too? Sure, Cobra Kai talks about operating as one, but something even more important came out in dialogue. Tori said everyone thinks she's crazy. That's actually significant because it's the only piece of information we have on how the other students of Cobra Kai think about her starting the school fight. They think she's crazy. So if everyone in Cobra Kai already thinks she's crazy, how are they going to react when she tells them, hey, Miguel and Samantha LaRusso teamed up to save the All Valley. Let's break into Sam's house and beat them all up. Are they going to be like, oh wow, that makes perfect sense. Let's do that. Or maybe they will be like, see, I knew she was crazy. It's called confirmation bias. If you already think someone is crazy and she comes at you with a crazy idea, you aren't going along with it. You'll be like, this chick is psycho, I'm out. So Tori is violating her probation and all the Crowbars are launching a home invasion because, well, you know, something no mercy. Yes, that's pretty much why Cobra Kai does anything in this finale. No, none of this shit makes any sense, but it's what we're given. Let's move on. Where are we? Ah, here. The long-awaited rematch between Sam and Tori. Now, Sam manages to win this one, but what's important is how. She remembered the true karate skill her father taught her. She unleashed the ancient art of plot armor.
Your gun defense?
Ah, yes, plot armor. It's the lesson from her family, tracing back to Mr. Miyagi. Boy, does Sam have it big time. Most notably here. Seriously, Tori's going to get kicked out of Cobra Kai. She's clearly not Cobra Kai material. I mean, Kreese told her,
the fight isn't over until your enemy is finished.
And just to make it clear,
You show your enemy no mercy.
Except she didn't do such a good job at the school fight. Showboating her bracelet in front of Sam's face may have scarred her psychologically, but failed to achieve what no mercy is all about, making sure your enemy is finished. Sam managed to block and kick Tori away. So then 4 months later, we're in the same spot. Tori has Sam on the floor, and what does she do? Well, this is Tori in class. Boom, ouch, chipped her tooth. This is Tori in the same exact situation with Sam. And she walked away. That is Samantha's powerful plot armor right there. So just to be clear, Tori convinced all the Cobras to stage this home invasion because something no mercy. But then when she has her enemy on the ground, she forgets all that. Instead, she taunts her and walks away for nunchucks. You see, Tori doesn't just want to fuck Sam up, no. She wants to derive as much pleasure from the beating as she can.
Guess I'll have to make my own fun.
Yes, Tori has dropped her no mercy training and replaced it with being straight up sadistic. And in case you forgot how it really looks, if Tori were a true Cobra Kai, when she knocks Sam down, it would look like this. Or maybe this. Ouch, that hurts. Maybe Tori's not
Cobra Kai material.
So anyway, Tori is trying to get some pleasure with her toy, weapon. It's not going well as she keeps missing. Sam even manages to have enough time for a voiceover flashback where she closes her eyes so long Mr. Miyagi would slap her.
Look high. Always look high.
Yeah, for some reason Samantha and the Miyagi-Do students will violate Mr. Miyagi's first lesson, but no one can ever take advantage. Otherwise, thanks to the voiceover, Sam has the drive to jump up and grab the bow staff for an epic weapons fight. It is on. Now this fight is a naked display of Tori's sexual frustration. She knows what she's after.
You channel it, and it feels good.
Yet her sadistic desire for fun and pleasure from beating Sam is thwarted at every blow. They say a lot of women have that problem of never quite getting there, over the top so to speak at the end, the big finish. No big moment, it just kind of sputters out, and that is the case with Tori. She doesn't get one hit in the whole fight. At the end, she's so desperate she's ready just to finish with her hands. But that's when a bunch of people come in, it really kills the mood, it does. But just before this, the fight is going strong in the house. Cobra Kai is winning. Kyler is taking out Miguel, and Dimitri is all tied up. This is where Honk has his coming to moment and turns away from Cobra Kai. He apologizes to Dimitri and makes things right. Dimitri, happy to have his friend back, accepts the apology, and thus begins the Binary Brothers team-up. This is the coolest, most badass moment in the fight. You have to love it. In fact, this makes Honk such an awesome character because he manages to have the coolest, most badass moment for both sides of the fight. He had this moment as Cobra Kai, and the Binary Brothers team-up for Miyagi Fang. So yes, Hawk rules. Now there is some question on whether Hawk's turn back is too sudden, like it takes only one slow motion voiceover flashback and he ditches Cobra Kai. Many have argued that Hawk's turn was building throughout the season. There is some truth to that. He was questioning everything for much of the season, when Kreese made cuts, during the fight at the laser tag center, and after they got the snake when Kreese put emphasis on Robbie. But that's not really the issue with Hawk's turn. The problem isn't Hawk's story arc throughout the season, the problem is Hawk's story arc throughout the fight. Yes, any fight should, on some level, have a beginning, middle, and end. And while this fight certainly does, Hawk's arc in the fight is very weak. He comes along with Tori for this home invasion because something no mercy. He's ready to fight against his best friend or former best friend. Miguel is clearly on the other side. The crazy thing is, in the previous episode, he cited what Robbie did to Miguel as reasons not to trust Robbie.
He put Miguel in the hospital. He's the enemy.
So clearly, even if they weren't on the best terms, he was still loyal to Miguel. Keep in mind, according to the show's timeline, this scene is actually the same day. This was the morning, this is the evening. So in one day, Hawk went from loyalty to Miguel to attacking a home invasion against Miguel because he and Sam saved the All Valley. It doesn't really track. Before the fight, there was no indication Hawk had any second thoughts. Through the early fight scenes, there wasn't either. Hawk didn't fight Miguel, but Kyler was. Hawk clearly saw himself on Kyler's side. but then the magical voiceover happens and Hawk switches. While I love the moment, it is true in the context of the fight the switch did happen suddenly. There was no indication Hawk had any hesitation up until here. He was full on Cobra Kai. The problem again is the character motivations aren't developed and they're being forced through plot points to complete the story. Now as for Miguel and Kyler, their fight is pretty straightforward. Kyler at least has a reason to not like Miguel, which is more character motivation than any other Cobra Kai out there. Even still, why he came now doesn't make sense. I will say Miguel's backflip is probably my favorite part of the soundtrack. It's great badass moment and Miguel's win is satisfying. That said, his key moment was another slow motion voiceover flashback. That is the third one in this fight, right back to back to back. Look, they're not bad, they do work. Each one is put together well and serves the purpose. The problem is, altogether, they're also not great. There's a general principle in writing where you don't want to use the same technique over and over again, especially in the same scene like this. I think maybe if they replaced one with something else, perhaps the middle one, Hawks, it may have had a better flow. What would that be? I don't know, I didn't write it. I do think it's fair to say the repetition of this slow motion voiceover flashback is a flaw in the writing. This would still all be good if that were the only flaw in the writing. Unfortunately, it is not. We already talked about the bad plotting and character motivation, which is already a big deal for the season's climactic fight scene. Yet the most annoying problem is the dialogue. For a series and franchise filled with such iconic lines, so much of the key dialogue in this fight, especially Tori's, is absolute shit. It turns Tori into a one-dimensional cartoon villain. Yes, cartoon villain. She's talking full-on generic bad guy lines.
It's too late. This ends tonight.
Ah yes, of course it does. That brings us back here, the end of the fight. The dialogue is forced and every line is a cliche. She's speaking some full-on cliche-ridden dialogue of cartoon bad guys. See for yourself.
It's not over. This will never be over, LaRusso. You hear me?
This isn't over, crew! You hear me? This is not over!
Oh, this isn't over.
This isn't over, Troy Barnes.
This isn't over yet.
This isn't over. This isn't over by a long shot. This isn't over.
This isn't over.
This isn't over yet, mortal! This will never be over!
It isn't over! It isn't over, Kyle!
This isn't over! You haven't seen the last of Kaka-Poo-Poo!
Ah yes, Kaka-Poo-Poo indeed. Unfortunately, there's a lot more Kaka-Poo-Poo to come. Let's get Sam into this. Her retort.
You know where to find me.
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 You know where to find me!
You know where to find me.
While mimicking the villain in a Van Damme movie is one thing, I happen to really like that she said the same thing as Grease in the first episode. Really, this is what happens when you try to give the characters tough-talking dialogue without any ingenuity in forcing it through the plot points. You fall into cliches. So as Tori leaves, she puts on her best Kylo Ren impression. Traitor! Very undeveloped, emotionally unbalanced villains. You kind of wonder if Tori is just a Kylo Ren with boobs. Maybe in season 4 we'll learn her uncle tried to kill her in her sleep for no particular reason. Anyway, Tori awkwardly walks out because they wrote themselves into a corner, literally. They have the fight in the pool house dojo, and all the forced dialogue was just to get Tori away from the home dojo and out of the house. Now back to the fight. While a lot of the main action is really good, when you dissect this closer, you can start to see the gears turning. We know this fight was choreographed in the house very last minute and it shows. The biggest problem is the background fights. Like, these two aren't really fighting, they're just rubbing their hands all over each other, which I'm sure will be the plot of some fan fiction. This one is really bad. It actually makes me laugh when I look at it, as he's holding his fist out waiting to get kicked. But as ridiculous as that is, it's not even the worst part of this shot. Just before here, like, what is going on back there? Did this suddenly become a slumber party and everyone is laying on the floor all cozy? What's even crazier is when you follow the camera, it's panning right and right until the guys laying down together are framed almost right behind the primary action. I would like to think something is going wrong here because that is a stupid framing of the shot. Or maybe it was intentional and Hito and Josh thought it makes perfect sense. Everyone would lay down together and they're all tapping each other because, I don't know, I guess they're happy they did a good job at work. But let's not forget this. Yes, right here, he's looking up at the camera. That's bad. It's the sort of thing that kind of ruins the whole moment. Sure, you didn't see it on your first viewing, but it's ridiculous and unacceptable all the same. This is not indicative of a show that wants to be taken seriously. I've thought about this and it really reminds me of the last season of Game of Thrones, when a modern day coffee cup found its way in front of Queen Daenerys in the halls of Winterfell. Sure, it was a small, embarrassing mistake that most people didn't even catch on their own, but boy did it become a symbol for everything that was wrong with that last season. Sloppy, no thought put into it. It was like no one cared anymore. So yeah, for a show that's been known for such attention to detail, this background slumber party really fucking sucks. It's worse because, like the coffee cup on the table, it captures a scene where a huge group of kids listen to a crazy girl who had a crazy idea to come launch a home invasion because something no mercy, it doesn't make any sense. And the whole damn thing finishes off with Tori spitting dialogue that sounds like it was written for Eric Cartman wearing a Confederate uniform.
This isn't over. Oh no, not by a long shot.
I'll address some of the aftermath of this fight in a season 4 video. Obviously, launching a home invasion and attacking the kids should land all these Cobras in jail, at least you would think so. Up next, I do want to talk about the double fight in episode 5. This may be my favorite fight sequence and episode of the season, so it'll be a lot more fun video. Be sure you're subscribed, especially if you're Miyagi-Do. Anyway, what do you think of the LaRusso Manse brawl? Leave a comment and let me know. Have a great day, I'll see you at the next watch party.
You better watch your back.
You better watch your back.
No, but I should have. You better watch your back.
You better watch your back.